Okay, what we've got here is the aluminium piece, the aluminium cuff piece that I actually cast and I've cleaned up. The cleaning process actually removes most of the actual lines that are actually involved in it, so I've actually penciled them back in, and what I'm going to do now is actually engrave them back in, give you an idea on how to do some straight lines. So you won't be able to hear me for the noise, but hopefully you'll see what it is, and then I'll discuss the technique that I'm doing. I've cut a very fine line. Now I'll continue that all the way around, and the trick with this is to use a really light touch, okay? Really light touch until you actually start to pick up the actual line surface, and then deep it in. The other thing, obviously, if you don't have one of these extenders, I highly recommend you actually get one, because it makes it a lot more different to actually, like in the pencil sort of hole that you can do it. The other thing I'm doing is I'm bracing the piece against my hand. In this instance, that gives me a guide to actually follow it around. I'll do the same thing with this line. In a situation where I want to do a straight line like this, and I'll do this next as an example on how to show you on how to do a corner piece, again I try and brace my hand to the piece. If I can't do that, sometimes what I'll actually do is actually hold my fingers together. So if I had a smaller piece like this, for instance, where I did that edge there, I'll actually bring my hand around and hold the other finger against the piece as well, and that takes the shake out of your hand. Alright, start again. See that there? So I'm just easing it in. Once I do those bits, and I get a dab, dab, dab sort of effect, I can then come back in and take out the ridges in between the two. Okay, now normally I'd continue right the way around, but I'll stop there for now. Okay, where possible, what I'm going to do is actually brace my finger against the job, so that again it just stops my hand from jumping out of the way. And the technique that I'm using is just a very short sweep from there to there and then around the corner as I do it. So the idea is I try and bring it in this way first, okay, and then I bring it into the actual corner. The other thing you've got to remember is to match the rotation of your tool. Okay, the rotation goes around that way, so that's going to be the natural way that it wants to run off. So if I actually have my hand in such a position that I actually grab hold of it, it sort of limits how far away it can get on me. The other thing is to try and go with that cut rotation, so that you're not fighting against the actual natural direction that it wants to go. Okay, so once again I'm going to do this with the tool turned off so you can actually hear what I'm talking about. As I do it in this instance, I'm bracing my finger against, and it's kind of the same way that you would get a pencil and draw a line like that. It's the same sort of principle, except in this instance I'm actually holding my little finger down here, and that's my brace point, and as it cuts it sort of continues all the way around, and I spin the job rather than move too much with my hand. I'm sort of rotating the job as I go around. In this instance it'd be the same sort of thing. I'd go right the way up to there, right up to the corner, and then just stop just short of that corner using the line that I've marked there as a guide, and then I do the same thing, come back and cut back to that corner. Obviously the big thing you've got to be careful of is not to overshoot your corners. That's where you use the diamond tool to actually come back and cut those corners in. Okay.